Okay, Divas, I met with Ghost Thursday and she agreed to let me come down and work with you guys tomorrow. And I'm going to go through these clips to give you an idea of what we're going to be working on and why. So refer to the practice sheet. The first thing you'll see on the practice sheet is that we have center quarterback exchange. I'll need at least two centers down there. We have two quarterbacks. We had a number of these fumbles in inside run. We can't have that. All right. After that, we're going to be working on your first step, getting off the ball. It's probably the most important thing that you do as an offensive lineman is to get off the ball. You notice here, when the ball is snapped, right, we have bodies leaning, but no feet are moving. And we have two people who didn't even get out of their stance. We can't have that. So tomorrow, when we go through that pre-practice periods and we're working on your first step, what I want to see is by the time that we get to inside run, that people are getting off the ball, taking the first step. After we take the first step, we've got to have, well, before then, we've got to have a great stance. And stance comes up a couple times here in the film. We'll back up just a little bit. Christine and Brylan, you both are doing great jobs, but Brylan, the feet should be just opposite here. And Christine, by tomorrow, we're going to have a better stance. We need a good stance that we can block from. Excuse me, after we get off the ball, we want to maintain good body position. And Laney, I'm going to focus on you. You do some really good things here. When we snap the ball, see if I can get this back. This is great body position. The ball is snapped in your great body position. Two things. Maintain that body position and also use your hands, which we're going to cover tomorrow. But you totally give it up. You stand straight up, and now the defensive player gets underneath you, and now they're able to move you. Again, nobody's across the white line. We haven't gotten off the ball at all. And you can carry this even further, right? Now the tailback has the ball, and we still have nobody across the white line. So that's tomorrow is a big priority. Now, I'm going to trust you guys that you don't overthink this. I'm going to give you a big picture view of where all these parts kind of lead. All right. Now, one thing that we are going to get into tomorrow is beginning to understand what is play side and what is backside and where the point of attack is. We have to understand that. We're running a 43 here. So play side is this area. This side is backside. The point of attack is right here. Okay, it's very important that we begin to understand that on our plays. The reason that's important is because football is about equating numbers. If you look on the screen, there are 7 defenders, 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. We have 6 linemen. Okay, so how do we equate numbers? Well, that's where the language stuff comes in. We will use words that you haven't been introduced to, so don't worry about them for tomorrow, like lock and look and read. And for instance, we may decide that we're not going to block this defensive end because they're so far away from the point of attack. That little simple decision allows us to equate numbers. Now, these 3 offensive linemen can handle and deal with these 3 defenders. And now these 3 offensive linemen can begin to handle and deal with these 3 defenders. Okay? Then the question becomes, well, who's double teaming and who's not? Again, that's where the language comes in. But tomorrow, what we're going to do is just go on all the rules that you've been taught so far. We're not going to change a thing. The only thing that we want to see different tomorrow is that people are coming off the ball and that we're moving people into it. I don't want people to worry about double teams. Another little big picture thought for you. Let's say that we had a double team here between these 2, and their job was to get this linebacker. This is why understanding where the point of attack is. If the point of attack is here in this area, 43, let's see if I can get it to draw up for me. Okay, what you have to understand as offensive lineman is that this linebacker is going to be coming into this area to try to stop the ball. That's why it's so important that with our double teams that we push this back. So as this player is coming forward and we're pushing back, it becomes very easy to get off this block, have your teammate take over, and for you to get this block, okay? But if we don't get off the ball, if we don't push that double team back, then everything becomes that much more difficult. And that's why we're going to focus on the things that we're going to focus on tomorrow. I hope this big picture thing helps. instead of confusing, and we'll do more of it in the future. Let's have a great practice tomorrow.